extra thrilled this week to be joined by Athletic Director Anna Prillaman, here with my sidekick, Senior Nathaniel Milligan. And Ms. Prillaman, we just want to bring you on as we tape this. The winter season is winding down. Most sports are finished, boys and girls basketball, hoping to keep going in the state tournament next week. But I just wanted to ask your general overall impressions of what the winter season brought for Titan Athletics.
I thought it was very positive. I think the energy around the winter season has been awesome. I think let's mention immediately the finish of boys track and field. I told Marcus that was like the most jarring and surprising and exciting finish I've ever heard out of a Trinity team, period, in all 20 of our programs, to hear that we get second place at the track and field meet within a program that really hasn't made a lot of noise, at least since I've been here in the last 10 years. So I'm uber excited about that. The energy around swim and dive is always awesome around that state meet. I don't think there's any better spectacle than going down there. It's been in Lynchburg, it's been in Christiansburg, it's been up at Jeff Rouse, and I've gone every year, and I love it. And then, of course, basketball is basketball at Trinity with both the boys and the girls. So I'm pleased. The inbox is not full of complaints from an administrator's perspective. That means things are going well.
Yeah, and I've always felt the winter season, in some ways, maybe this is my own bias, but is in a way the most important, just because it's the most difficult time of the school year.
Definitely.
The newness of fall is worn off, and typically the weather is mostly good in the fall. The spring season, you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but winter seems to drag. The weather's not great. We're indoors, and so to have really across the board success in all the sports, I feel like can lift the morale of the school.
The weather has helped because it hasn't really felt like winter.
True.
We didn't have those short days of just crippling cold.
But do you see that? Do you ever think about that? That the morale in general is impacted by athletics. I mean, not just in the winter, but maybe
for sure, especially in December when there is no light at the end of the tunnel as far as the end of the school year is concerned, and then early January. But now spring sports have started. It's that final race to the finish. Not that anybody wants it to be over or anything, but yeah, winter can absolutely drag, and I did not have that feeling this year. You know, the boys basketball team is a big deal around here, and it has been historically, you know that better than anybody, and for them to go to only winning 5 games last year to being third in the prep league and really having a chance to get to the prep league final, that's huge. To beat Stewart twice, to beat Benedictine twice, to split with Collegiate and St. Chris, I consider that a successful year. And then, you know, the girls basketball team, performance-wise, I guess, wasn't the best, but the morale is great. It's been a positive experience for those kids. I think they've got some young leaders on the team. Alex Geeson, I think the world of Lily Ferguson. You know, we do lose two big seniors that have been staples in the program for several years, but I think that there's high hopes for, you know, an upward curve for that program too. So everything's in a great place, I think.
So obviously this fall we had a historic time for sports. Football went undefeated. Girls field hockey played very well. And so how did you, as the athletic director, kind of take that spirit of Trinity winning and bring it into the winter sports?
Also boys soccer. Oh yeah, boys
soccer.
State runner-up.
Big deal. I guess the best kept secret from an athletic administrator's perspective is we're not supposed to care about winning, but I can't do that. It's not in me. I want to do well. I want to win on this podcast. If I go play, pickleball this weekend, I want to win at that. So I'm not really supposed to think that way, but to me, we are supposed to, as an administrative staff in athletics, put all of our programs in a position to succeed, and I think a piece of that pie can be winning, because it's way more fun to go home after a win than it is a loss. Certainly you can learn stuff from losing, but I think clearly Trinity's on the upward trajectory as far as winning more and more of our programs. But as long as the kids and the families are having positive experiences, and I don't get that inbox full of complaints about this and that, I'm happy. But, I mean, you would be tone deaf if you didn't feel the energy of fall sports coming out of that football situation. Of course, field hockey's awesome. The way Lily led the volleyball team, I think we had a chance at Collegiate at winning that game. I mean, it was positive there as well. And then, of course, soccer and that surprise run to the state final was just electric around here. And I think that impacts the rest of the campus when we're doing well. You can literally feel it around here.
So I want to take a minute and brag on Coach Prillaman, because I don't think a lot of people within the Trinity community maybe are fully aware of your incredible athletic career. State champion in basketball at Midlothian High School. I'm pretty sure you were state player of the year and at least Metro player of the year. You you go play 4 years of high-level ACC basketball at the University of Virginia, and believe you made the NCAA tournament every year when Coach Debbie Ryan still had things rolling there in Charlottesville in the early 2000s. So now, as an athletic administrator and very much on the other side of things, how frequently do you draw on your own experiences as a student athlete, the confidence perhaps that you garnered from a successful athletic career, both individually and being part of really special teams? Is it something that you think about daily, weekly, rarely, but then in some situations remember like, when I was 17, this would have been a big deal, and just how impactful is your own experiences as an incredible athlete to the decisions that you make and how you run the athletic department?
The first thing that comes to mind is the anti-specialization. Like, all that basketball stuff is all well and good, but I also played volleyball. I also ran cross country. I did high jump and track and field. And then I also played tennis. I loved tennis. That was so fun. So I cannot state enough to parents, to athletes, to coaches, play as many sports as you can in high school, because that's where my experience and my balance in life comes from. Is yes, you got one thing you really need to focus and take seriously, and that was basketball for me, because that was my ticket to a institution like UVA that I probably couldn't have got into otherwise. But the rest of it is where I developed relationships. No, I don't think about my high school career every day or every week. This week I did, because I'm in the process of cleaning out my attic, and I came across a box of newspaper clippings, and the thing that brought me to tears was notes from my good childhood friends who didn't really ever see me as Miss Basketball like the rest of the town did, but just basically saying at the end of my career, like, I see you and I'm really proud of you. Congratulations on your next step or anything like that. That's what made me pause. As far as how it relates to this job here, a lot of times as adults we can kind of brush off the feelings of teenagers, like, that's silly. That doesn't matter. That's not going to matter in 5 years. That's not going to matter in 10 years. And that's when I have to go back and think about how I was as a 16 and 17-year-old. And yeah, winning did matter. And the difference between a championship and the second seed or finishing third was a big deal. The interpersonal things that are going on that we put it in, the lane of drama, it does matter. And so going back and remembering how I felt as a teenager in those times when sports was everything to me, and my athletic experience and how we finished and how we were perceived was a really big deal, really helps me as I deal with some of these student athletes and their concerns on a day-to-day basis. So I don't hang my hat on it anymore. It's not who I am, my athletic career, but it certainly helps me in my job today.
So I'm going to ask a question personally. 3 of the 4 swim coaches are off-campus coaches. I know track has a lot of off-campus coaches, and then basketball also. How do you, as an athletic director, deal with having those outside coaches, and they sometimes can't understand the culture of Trinity? How do you help them understand the culture of Trinity?
Yeah, any athletic administrator at any institution that has out-of-house coaches has a lot more work to do in season when your coaches aren't here. They don't know the scuttlebutt, they don't know the chatter, they don't know, of course, fully the culture unless you live it every day, and it is my job to try to explain that to them. It is very hard to explain culture to somebody. You have to live it. And so certainly in the winter, with Coach Johnson and Coach Blazer being off campus, it's tougher. They can't come to morning meeting every day and make announcements like Coach Hamlin is amazing at. They can't control the narrative during the day. So when people go and have side conversations about, hey, what's going on in the swim team, or hey, what's going on in boys basketball, they're not here to say, hey, that's actually wrong. You need to steer the narrative this way that is the actual truth. And that's a big deal. So I've got to support a little bit more our out-of-house coaches. It's not realistic, unfortunately, for all of our coaches to be in-house with an institution that is so excellent like Trinity is. When we go to hire, we want the best science teacher, and we want the best business operations person, and we want the best math teacher. And sometimes that person can't coach tennis or golf or basketball or whatever. So there are certain roles that we just have to get out-of-house. Fortunately for us, our out-of-house people are just as dedicated as our in-house people, but they've got full-time jobs, they've got spouses, they've got kids, they've got hobbies themselves. So sometimes their coaching job is not top of mind all day, every day, and that's just really hard to manage. And I'm trying to get our community to understand that a little bit more, that we need to support and nurture and really be behind our out-of-house coaches, even just a little bit more than we do our in-house coaches. And I think we're moving in the right direction on that. And I hope that our out-of-house coaches feel just as much a part of the community as all of us that are here all day, every day.
Yeah, so the answer you just said, this was not a question I had planned to ask, but it's a little bit of a deeper dive, but I feel like the people that watch these, and I know there are people who do, because I get feedback, would like to hear this, what I'm about to ask, and your answer. Because you talk about the culture here, and like I've been at Trinity so long, and as an alum, and this is my 22nd year working here, and my sister went here, like I don't know any different really. Yeah. So it's hard for me to explain what the culture of Trinity is in a way that differentiates it from other institutions, because it's really the only high school I know. But for you who has worked at other high schools, didn't go here, also just as an athletic administrator, you're on different campuses a lot. Are you able to kind of put into words what, when you say the culture here, what that is?
Yeah, I mean, the buzzword that comes to mind is student-centric. A lot of coaches, especially our age, who grew up in a very different time of how coaches related to athletes, with these hard-line, strict rules. Everything was black and white. I don't know if you did, but back in the day, we had to sign contracts before every season that, hey, I'm not going to smoke and drink. I'm not going to do this, I'm going to be on time, and here are the exact consequences of what happens if I do those things. Here at Trinity, not that we don't have consequences for bad behavior, but we are more of, all right, let's go follow up with that student and ask why they were late, or why they got themselves in a situation that wasn't great on the weekend. And maybe that consequences that one would put on paper doesn't actually match based on the, the back knowledge that we have of it. It's so helpful, and this is why Coach Johnson and Coach Blazer are a little bit behind, to be able to have a classroom where your athletes can come during the day, during discovery, during lunch, stopping by whenever, to talk about whatever's going on with them. And so I think that we're just really, really focused on hearing out the student and having a mutual relationship of respect, as opposed to these hardline rules that a lot of public institutions have to have just because of how big they are, and some other places do. So without getting too deep into it, because this could be a conversation we could have for hours,
right. I
think we're really, really student-centric and want to hear out these young people and not just slap stuff on them without thinking about it. So that's one thing, but there's a lot. No, I can't articulate our
No, I
culture,
know.
to be honest.
Well, I'd say, it's like yesterday, we had soccer practice till 5:30, and I got home at 6:33, and I live 3 minutes away. My kids were like, but practice ended at 5:30. But I said, yeah, but then this player wanted to talk about like their position, and this player wanted to talk about how to be a leader, and this player wanted to talk about a class they're struggling in, and it's like, you don't think of it consciously because that's what we do and that's how we live it, but it didn't really occur to me to do what you just said. Like, that is being student-centric. I just never necessarily explicitly put a title to it, but that is what it is.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're unique in that way. I don't want to say other institutions don't do that first, but I know from my experience, like if we saw a teacher in the parking lot after school, it was like, avoid them, don't talk to them, because that's not appropriate. And you get to Trinity, and it's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? How are you? How's your mom? Like, there's just more of a connection, certainly on an appropriate level, but I love that about Trinity, and the fact that we're not black and white about stuff, and sometimes rules are more like guidelines, and that's good. It works.
Yeah.
I think, so my last question is going to be, going in, so we had a really good fall season. I would say the winter season went really well, some unexpected victories. What is your advice to the upcoming spring athletes as they start their season?
Take the momentum that this fall and the winter has created around here and show up, and let's perform to the best of our ability. I think all eyes are on boys tennis. If we can stay healthy, the sky is literally the limit in that program. Softball is still very, very good. I think baseball has the potential to be really good. Our lacrosse programs are continuing to grow. Golf is stable. We saw what track and field did. And girls soccer with this guy, I mean, they are the steady of the spring. They really are. So I think everyone just has to perform to their potential. There's no pressure on them. I mean, that's the good thing about it. But take that momentum and let's do this thing.
All right, let's finish it off with a lightning round. If you watched this before, we frequently do this with our athletes. At the end, we're going to just pose some quick questions, quick answers to Coach Prillaman. I don't even really know what I'm going to ask yet, just the first thing that pops to mind. So let's start with, if you could live in any country besides the United States and money was not an issue, you could live wherever you wanted in the world, but you'd have to leave this country, where do you want to live?
My family's from Switzerland. Can't ski, but I would learn.
What's your pre-game hype song? Or just a song that like gets you pumped up.
Oh, don't listen to the song, but it used to be Bone Thugs and Harmony, No Surrender. Don't listen to it.
I know that one. That's we're 90s kids. Love Bone Thugs.
But now it's Adele.
Who is the most influential person for you, a coach or athletic administrator that you've really looked at as a mentor?
Mr. Garrett, my high school basketball coach, by far. Still play tennis with him to this day.
Oh, that's cool. I know you still are active in some sort of leisure or rec sports, so this may not totally apply, although like you said, you still play tennis, but if you were going to do like a competitive activity, what would be your pregame meal?
Oh gosh, I don't eat food before I play. That actually is like a really big thing for me. I get really sluggish if I eat food. So I'm Gatorade, I'm supplements, I'm yogurt maybe, but not a meal, no.
Who is your favorite female athlete?
Serena Williams.
Male athlete?
Ooh, good. It's Federer. I'm a tennis gal.
What Trinity athlete or athletes this winter performance was one that just leapt out for you? Who's your athlete of the winter?
It's a team. It's our 4x2 boys track. That's Nathan Sims, William Hoffler, Terrence Edwards, and Cornell.
If you didn't work in athletics, what's another career that would have been a good one for you?
I swear if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still work in athletics. I feel really proud to say that, because I don't think I have a single friend that could say if I won the lottery, I would stay in. I mean, I organize sports for a living. You're kidding me? It's awesome.
And let's finish up with what is your favorite athletic memory from your own career?
I told this at that chapel thing that I did 4 years ago, the story of my cross country. I finished the year in tennis. Midlow was always good, but we'd always lose to a West End team, so we were done a little bit early, which opened the door for me to run in cross country meets. I had to run in the B race in regionals. I won that to get into the A race. That was in districts. B race districts, went into the A race in regionals. And I had a situation where no one knew who I was on the team because I had just joined at big public school, and I was about to pass our senior captain, Keisha Banks, and I said, I'm not going. I feel good. I'm not going unless you go with me. And damn if we didn't go and both get all state together. I'll remember like it was yesterday. It was awesome.
That is awesome. Well, that's a great way to end it. Thank you so much to Coach Prillaman for joining us. She's done an incredible job steering this athletic program. It's probably in the best place it's ever been. And Coach Prillaman is a huge part of the reason for that. So it's been really fun catching up, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.